We're going to first focus on simply graphing p of x. I would like you to rewrite this as y equals -1, the square root of x plus 4 plus 1. This is a square root function, so I'm going to grab my square roots. Remember that square roots create this shape like this. It can go like this, or maybe it goes, right, it can be flip around. It depends if it's reflected across the x or y, but they make these basic shapes. If I can just show you, they make these basic shapes. It could be like that, it could be like that, or maybe it's flipped. It's going that way or down that way, okay? Those basic shapes. So, what would be the parent function? Look back to your paper. What is the basic input values for the square root of x? 0, 0. What's the next one? Look at your paper. 1, 1. Now, 2 and 3 exist, but they're ugly. 4, 2, 9, 3. That's what I'm going to use. I'm going to press pause, and right now, with the help of your partner, let's see if you can graph this in 1 minute. Note those in class work on this. I'm going to go ahead and graph this. Okay, so I'm going to move to the left 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm going to go up 1. That accounts for these two. Left 4 and up 1. Now each of these needs to be multiplied by the y's. 0 times -1, 1 times -1, 2 times -1, and 3 times -1. What does this mean? So from this point, I'm going to go right, so 0, 0 is already there. I'm going to go right 1 and down 1. Right 1, down 1. Then I'm going to go right 4 and down 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, and down 2. Then I'm going to go right 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And I'm going to go down, down 3. 1, 2, and 3. And then I'm going to tilt this out of the side, and I'm going to connect these and put an arrow as it continues to go down and to the right as it moves. Does anybody have questions in front of me for how I graphed p of x? On this, I do want to write p of x. Does anybody have questions how I graphed p of x? Anybody, anybody? Okay, we are now going to state the domain and range not of this function, but of g of x. So where can you find g of x? If you go right now, let me find it, into your Teams page. Any of these Teams pages will have it. I'm going to go to period 4 with who I'm working with right now. Give me 1 second. See if you guys see your period 4. There it is. Period 4, it is right here. I'm going to click on it. So notice that the one that you see in red, the one you see in red is what we just graphed. So forget about the one you see in red. It is the one you see in black. By the way, how many different functions do you see in black? Turn to your group. How many different functions do you see? I see 2. Now look back to what we did at the very beginning today. I think the most obvious one is this V shape. Turn to your partner. What makes the V shape? Okay, so we have an absolute value. Now remember we did this with our hands? We made it. What is this part? It's not a straight line. What is this part, do you think? A square root. So we're just making predictions. I want you and your partner to come up with the domain and the range of only what you see in black right now. I'm going to press pause. Go ahead and do that, and we'll come back and do it together. Begin. Come back to this determining the domain and range. All eyes up here, please. Let's go with the domain. So we can see that we're only looking in black. We can see that there is an actual value that corresponds with an x value of -5, and it's continuous all the way up to 1, but at 1 I see a hole in the graph. Now after it leaves 1, we're good. It's continuous all the way up, and by the way, what does this arrow mean? Does it mean it stops there? It means it continues to move. It's nothing is going to stop it, so as it moves to the right, it's going down. There's no limit how far it goes to the right as it moves down. This is the domain. And oftentimes you're going to see this symbol in between. So it means what's on the left and on the right. Does anybody have questions? Okay, let's talk about the range. How low does it go? Well, what did I just say about this arrow? Is there any limit how low it goes? There's no limit how low it goes. Now, how high does it go up to? 3. Is there an actual point there? There is a point there. We can see it right there. It's a closed dot, so we have to include it. Okay, we are saying when are these two functions equal? That means how many times, because how many times are they equal to each other, or how many times do they intersect? So a lot of students are going to say 1. Who looks up here and they see 1 time they intersect? Hands up high. But that's not correct. The answer is 2. Turn to your groups. Why is the answer 2? Do you see how this is going to go down in this direction? And how eventually it's going to cross with what we see in red? Do you guys see that second intersection? So there's 2 places it crosses, and then we are done with part C. Please look down at part D. Please look down at part D. This says 3 times P of 12 minus 2 times G of 4 times G of negative 5. It's our last part and we are done. Okay, are you ready? So function P. We know what P is. I'm going to come back here so we can see this. This means P of 12. We're going to take 12 and we're going to plug it back in up here. So let's do this together. I'm going to input in 12. 12 plus 4 is 16. What is the square root of 16? I got to write that down. But there's a negative sign in front. So it becomes negative 4 plus 1. What is negative 4 plus 1? Okay, so this portion right here is negative 3. So on your paper right now, you have this part down. I brought down the 3 out front. I inputted 12 to function P. My output was negative 3. Now, we don't have an equation for G, but we do have a graph. This means, real quick, it means go to an x value of 4. Okay, I can do that. Go to an x value of 4. So here's an x value of 4. What is the corresponding output value? Okay, so I'm going to come back here. The output is 2. Now, this means go to an x value of negative 5. I can do that again. Let's find this. Negative 5. Negative 5 is right here. What is the output value? Negative 4. So I'm going to come back over here. That's negative 4. With your team, now please evaluate. Negative 4 is positive 16. 3 times 13 is 30.